Okay. Uh, okay, so let's start today's class. So yesterday what we were doing is, just wait. Yes. So yesterday we have started looking at uh, different forms or different ways in which we can solve or we can find the limit of a function which are in the indeterminate form or not in indeterminate form. So first method was simple substitution, or when we substitute the value. So one was simple substitution, substituting the values. Okay, the second method was, so first is substitution, second method was simply by factorizing or rationalizing, right? And the third method which we started yesterday was third was when we can actually find the expansion of a expansion of a function, expansion of functions around a point, expansion of functions around a point. Okay, and we have seen that expansion of some function around a point, how this will happen. This is happening because of Taylor series. Taylor series. Okay, and this Taylor series, we have seen that what was the, how we were getting actually this Taylor series, hai na? So okay, so today and yesterday I've asked you to remember three different three or four expansion. So first expansion was this log of 1 plus x. So remember, for log of 1 plus x, remember for log of 1 plus x, and then log of 1 minus x you will simply get by substituting x as minus x. Okay, so just remember for this one, you have to remember only for this one. Okay, and then for log of 1 minus x you can also remember by itself. Now from this e to the power x, e to the power minus x, you do not have to remember, just remember for this, remember for this one. So a to the power x, if you'll remember, then you everywhere you have log a base e, log a base e whole square, log a base e whole cube, and so on, right? What you can do, instead of a, if you'll substitute e, if you'll take e, so this will be log e base e whole square, log e base e whole cube, and so on. So log e base e is 1, so it will get cancelled out, right? Now for sin x and cos x you have to remember. Tan x is a little difficult to remember, but just that is why they have given only first three terms. Tan x, they will never ask more than three terms. First three terms you just remember, remaining you don't have to remember. Now the way in which I remember is, first you substitute f of 0. First you substitute f of 0, that will be the first term. Okay, that will be the first term. Then next is f dash of 0 divided by 1 factorial. Then next is f double dash of 0 divided by 2 factorial, and so on. So if first two terms you are able to write, if first two terms you are able to write, then you will always remember the remaining terms, because it always follows a particular pattern. It always follows a particular pattern. Okay, now suppose if you have an expansion, suppose you have an expansion of e to the power 2x. Now here the expansion is e to the power x. E to the power x's expansion is 1 plus x square by 2 factorial plus x cube by 3 factorial, and so on. So what will be the expansion of 2x? E to the power 2x will be simply, instead of x you substitute 2x. So instead of x you substitute 2x. So this is 1 plus 2x plus 2x whole square by 2 factorial plus 2x whole cube by 3 factorial, and so on, right? Suppose if you have sine of 2x or sine of 3x or sine of x square, so wherever you have x, instead of x you simply substitute x, whatever is given. So suppose sine x is x minus x cube by 3 factorial, and so on. So this will simply become x minus x cube, and so on. So instead for 2x, so this is for x. So sine of 2x is equals to 2x minus 2x whole cube by 3 factorial, and so on. Remember how to remember this, how to remember sine. Suppose if you forgot, so substitute sine of 0. So sine of 0 will become 0. So that is why sine does not have x to the power 0, but cos will have. Cos of 0, cos of 0 will have 1. So cos of 0, the first term of cos is 1. Remaining you can write by yourself. You always remember that every alternate terms will get cancelled out. So cos 1, then next will be x square by 2 factorial. The next will be x4 by 4 factorial. Plus, minus, and so on. Okay. So you can remember like this. Abhishek, tan is following a pattern, but because differentiation of tan, it is very complicated. One minus, so that is why you are having in this form. It is not following a direct a shown pattern, but it will follow a pattern. Okay, fine. Okay, so let's solve some question based on this. So first you solve this one. Only using the series. Only using expansion of series you have to solve. Okay, so solve this one, first one. Tan x minus sin x by x cube. So I will write the tan x expansion, x plus x cube by 3. Okay. No, you do not need the cosecant. That will get more complicated. So that is why it is not shown. Or anyway, sin x you can cosec x you can write as 1 by sin x. Sec x you can write as 1 by sin x. है ना? So it will be automatically you can write it like that. है ना? Cosec x you can write as 1 by sin x. So whenever you have cos x, sec x, or cot x, you can always convert into 1 by sin x and that. है ना? So you solve it on basis of that. Okay. Right. So now you have tan x minus sin x by x cube, right? So what you can do is limit of x tending to 0. Now this is indeterminate form, 0 by 0, 0 by 0 form. Tan x you can write as x plus x cube by 3 plus 2 by 15 x to the power 5. Yeah. So x plus x cube by 3 plus 2 by 15 x to the power 5. Though you just have to write for 10th first 3 terms. Okay. Minus sine, you can remember sine first term will be for sine first term. If you will substitute sine 0, it will become 0. Then you will have second term as x. So first second term of x is x, then next is x cube x to the power 5. See, x cube x to the power 5. So simply x minus x by 1 factorial, then you have x cube by 3 factorial, and so on. So this is 1 factorial, 3 factorial, then you will have plus x to the power 5 by 5 factorial, and so on. Right. Now see, this x and this x gets cancelled, right? So remaining next term you have is, limit of x tending to 0. Next term you have is x cube by 3 minus x cube, minus and minus plus x cube by 3 factorial, and then remaining term will have x to the power 5 and bigger, right? So remaining term you can take x to the power 5 and you can write remaining term divided by x cube and x to the power 5 will get cancelled, and you will have x square here. Limit x tending to 0, this is x cube, this is x cube, this x cube and gets cancelled. So as limit x tending to 0, this part will also tend to 0, and this part will give you the answer. So this is limit x tending to 0, 1 by 3 was 1 by 6. So 1 by 3 you can take common. So this is 3 by 2. So this is 1 by 2. So answer limit of this one is 1 by 2. Again, in y indeterminate form, previously we saw this was 0 by 0 form, which is indecisive. We do not know whether we will get a limit, whether it exists or not. After calculating, we checked, we got the limit exist. Understood? Fine. I hope this one is okay for everyone. Fine. One more thing from this one, we can also write directly just from this one. However, this we will see in detail. Last step, which last step? By this is x and x gets cancelled. You can combine x cube terms. So x cube is 1 by 3 plus x cube by 3 factorial. So what you can do, if you want me to write it clearly, I told you na, do not talk about L'Hopital's rule. If you want to solve by L'Hopital's rule, you can solve, but I'll guarantee you in exam you will not be able to solve any question with L'Hopital's rule. So this is x cube. Here you have x cube, so x cube will get cancelled. You can cancel this x cube with this, so you can take separately. So you can take separately this x cube, and this is x to the power 5. You can take separately. So this is x cube by 3 plus x cube by 6 divided by x cube plus this is x to the power 5 x cube, and this is something we can take x to the power 5 factor as common, because remaining term will have x to the power 5 and more. है ना? How we took x to the power 5 common from all the remaining term, because next all the other terms will be x to the power 5 or more. So that is why we can take common. है ना? That is very nursery stuff. I'm not going to teach how to take something common. So this is x square. These all terms will have multiplied x square term. Remaining all term will have x to the power more power, right? So this x square as x tending to 0. So this whole term, this whole part becomes equal to 0. This x cube and x cube gets cancelled. So this is 1 by 3 plus 1 by 6. This is 1 by 2. है ना? Okay. Yeah, obviously you understood, because this was simple. This was simple calculation, which if you do not have pen and paper with you, you will never be able to understand, no matter if I write 1000 times also. Okay. One more thing. Suppose if you have limit of x tending to 0. If you have limit of x tending to 0, sine of x upon x, and limit of x tending to 0, tan of x upon x, right? If you have something like this, then using expansion only. However, there is one more method which we will do when we are doing trigonometric limits and standard forms, है ना? But just by expansion, if we look at the expansion of sine x, tan x and sine x, so we can write you can take the first 4 terms if it is required, but there is no point of writing in there are infinite terms, right? There are infinite terms. Do you write infinite terms? No, till the point where we are required. Till the point where we require, only we will write like that. And first 3 terms is required, so I will write first 3 terms. If I were in exam, I won't even write first 3. I will only write first 2, because I know third term will get equal to 0 and fourth term will be get equal to 0. So I will write only first 2 terms only. I will not waste my time in writing the third term. Now, if I'll expand sine x, if I will expand sine x, so this will become limit of x tending to 0. Sine x is first term is x minus x cube by 3 factorial. This is 1 factorial plus x to the power 5 by 5 factorial, and so on. This is x. So if I'll take x common, so this will become limit of x tending to 0. This is 1 by 1 factorial minus x to the power square by 3 factorial, and x to the power, this will become 4 by 5 factorial, and so on, right? And so on. So as limit x tending to 0, these all parts, this part, and all the other terms will individually tend to 0. This will individually tend to 0. And the approximate value of this one we will get as equals to 1. The approximate value of this one we will get equals to 1. Okay. Similarly for tan x also. For tan x also, when I will write the series, so limit of x tending to 0. Remember, for tan x you have to remember. So this is x, then x cube, then x5. So remember, so this is x plus x cube by 2. I think it was 2. Yeah, 3. X cube by 3 plus x to the power 5 into 2 by 15. Right? Divided by x. If you write this, so again this will become limit of x tending to 0. 1 plus x square by 3 plus x to the power 4 into 2 by 15, and so on. The remaining terms will be x power 4 or more, will be x power 4 or more, right? Now, if x is tending to 0, so that means this will all become equals to 1. Approximate value will be equals to 1. है ना? How it became 0? Which part? Sir, I have a small doubt that how it became 0. Gadhe, x tending to 0, yes or no? Are x is tending to 0, yes or no? So x is tending to 0, that is why it became 0. Limit, see, check the limit, open your eyes, check the limit. What question I'm asking? X tending to 0, x square, something very small, square of that will become lesser, not greater. It will become lesser and lesser as we increase the power of x. 0.1 whole square is 0.01. 0.1 whole cube is 0.001. 0.1 whole to the power 4 is 0.0001. Understood? Abhishek, did you understand now? Or should I explain more? Should I take to the power 5 also? Maybe that will explain. Did you understand now? Yes? So because x is 0, x is, so this when x is tending to 0, this is actually 10 to the power minus almost tending to infinity. Square of that will make it much more 0. That is why these all terms will individually tend towards 0. Okay. Now, one question is, suppose you have sine of x upon x, limit of x tending to 0, greatest integer of this, and you have limit of x tending to 0, tan of x upon x greatest integer. Tell me what will, so suppose this is L1 and this is L2. Tell me what will be value of L1 and what will be the value of L2. Yeah, Srivatsan has said 0 and 1. Okay, that is correct. But Srivatsan, do you actually know how you will get 0 and 1? How do you know that first one greatest integer is 0 and second one greatest integer will be 1? Okay. So, fine. Anyone else? Anyone else? I'm saying that this is equals to 0 and this will be equals to 1. Okay, by expansion we can say, no, we cannot say just by expansion. By expansion, we know that this value is approximately 1 and this value is approximately 1. But by expansion, I cannot say that greatest integer of this is 1 or less or 0. Greatest integer of this is 1 or 0. You know, see, yes, very good, very good. See, when yeah, yes. See, what happens is, if I'll draw the curve for sin x, tan x and cos x, if I'll draw the curve for sin x, tan x and cos x, see, one thing we can say is, just wait, I will show you the Desmos graph. Just wait for a second. Okay, see, if everybody is able to see the graph, everybody is able to see the graph. Yes, are you able to see the screen? I hope you are. Yes, very good. Okay, so suppose if I am talking about, yes, so suppose if I'm talking about sin x and x, so see, if I look at the overview, we can see that sin x and x at around this point, they are almost equal. Around 0, they are almost equal. That means they are almost tending towards 0. But as we zoom in, always see the green, the blue one is sin x. So when we zoom in, suppose here, when we zoom in, we will always see that sin x is below x. Always. Sin x is always below x. Sin x, blue one is always below green. That means when we are dividing, so just wait. Okay, so that means when we are dividing sin x by x, this will give us this value. We know that this will be approximately equals to 1. We know that this is approximately equals to 1, right? But if I am writing it exactly what I will get, so I will write it as 1 minus. 1 minus will be the more accurate value of sin x by x. What does this mean? Because sin x is sin x is less than x always. Sin x is less than x always. However, they will be almost equal. But division of this will give you equal to 1, but something on the left side. So 1 less. If I'll take the greatest integer, this will become 0. I hope this point is clear to everyone, right? I hope this point is clear to everyone. Everybody understood why this greatest integer of this will become equal to 0? Because sin x is always less than x. So that means this will become 1 minus. Okay. For example, suppose for example, if we have suppose 2.1 divided by 2.2, this will almost give you 1. But from which side of 1? From the left side. So this will almost give you 1 minus, because denominator is greater than the numerator. Right? So if they have given sign of greatest yesterday we have seen greatest integer x. Yesterday we have seen sign of greatest integer x. When x tending to 0, this will give you two distinct values. You cannot expand because it will be in our range of values of x. You can simply expand. because this the sine of x you can expand because it has a left side and right side. For sine greatest integer x, it will be different. Sine of greatest integer x will have a particular value for which you can simply write that particular value. There is no neighborhood. Understood? Okay. Next, if we have seen for sine x, let's check for tan x also. So let's check for tan x also. See, if I'll remove the sine x and if I'll keep tan x, right? So see, this was tan x, this was tan x and x. Around x is equal to 0. Around x is equal to 0. Now again, same thing. Around x is equal to 0, we can see that both of them are approaching same value. That means 0. Both of them are approaching same value. But if I'll keep on zooming, remember blue one is above, blue one is tan and x is green. So see, right now we can see both converging, right? Both are almost same. But if I'll keep on zooming, if I'll keep on zooming, always the blue one will lie above the green one. Always the blue one is above the green one. Always blue one is above the green one. Always blue one is above the green one. Even by a smallest amount, blue one is always above green one, right? So I hope this one has made things clear that why. So always when this is approximately 1, but if I have to write the exact value, means, so then it will be 1 plus greatest integer of 1 plus is 1. I hope this one is okay. Now similarly, if you write limit of x upon sine x where x tending to 0, x upon sine x where x tending to 0, this will become equals to 1 plus now, है ना? Just reciprocal of this, and this is if limit of x tending to 0, and this is x by tan x, so this will become 1 minus now, है ना? Remember here x is in radian, x is in radian always. These x's are not in degrees, x is always in radian, है ना? That is why so that we can compare an means a normal algebraic curve with a trigonometric curve. That is why we converted in radian. So whenever you are having a comparison between algebraic curve, that means a polynomial or any other, so you will always have angles in radians. Okay, so I hope this one is okay for everyone. I hope this point is clear for everyone. Very good. Okay, next one, solve this one. Just remember log of 1 plus x. Try to write down the series for log of 1 plus x. For log of 1 plus x, first substitute 0, then f dash x, and then substitute 0, and then f dash x, then substitute 0, like that. So first write for log 1 plus x. From there you can write log of 1 plus 2x, and there you can write log of 1 minus x also. So first you have to remember log of 1 plus x. Try to remember log of 1 plus x. And tell me what value you will get here. So see, log of 1 plus x, x minus x square plus x cube minus x4. Here we have only 2, 3, 4, 5. We do not have the factorials. Remember this thing. Okay. So we can see, I will write for log of 1 plus x. 1 plus x is equals to x minus x square plus x cube minus x4 and so on. This is 2, this is 3, this is okay. So if we'll write for log of 1 minus x, log of 1 minus x, so this will become simply minus x square by 2 minus x cube by 3 minus x4 by 4 and so on, right? Instead of x, I will simply substitute minus. Log of 1 plus 2x, instead of x, now I will substitute 2x here. So this is 2x minus 2x whole square by 2 plus 2x whole cube by 3 minus 2x whole to the power 4 by 4, right? Because there is a square, I have a hunch that maximum I need 2 values. Because there is a square in the denominator, the maximum hunch I have is that I need still 2. See, if so, what I will do, I will just simply write first 2 values. because this is divided by x square. So what I will do, 2 into log of 1 minus x plus log of 1 plus 2x. I will check what will this become divided by x square. What will the numerator become? Limit, obviously. So you'll have limit 2 into log of 1 minus x. This is x minus x square by 2. Okay. Plus the second we have minus of x. Sorry. Sorry, this is minus of x, and next we have plus 2x minus 2x whole square by 2, right, divided by x square. So this part will become yes, this part will become minus 2x, and this will be minus 2x square by 2. This will be plus 2x. This will be minus of 4 x square by 2 divided by x square, right? 2x and minus 2x will get cancelled. This will be minus x square and minus 2. So this will get minus of 3x square. You will have minus of 3x square, right? Plus whatever terms you will have x to the power 3 or more. So I can take x cube common from all those terms. Whatever terms you will have remaining will have x to the power 3 or more. This whole thing is divided by x to the power 2. This whole thing is divided by x square. So that means x square and x square will get cancelled, and from here you will get x to the power 1. So that means limit of x tending to 0. So this will become minus 3 plus limit of x tending to 0. Something is multiplied with x, and the other terms are also factors of, है ना? So that means this part will become equal to 0. So the answer will be minus 3. So this is minus 3. Everybody understood? Just check this one. Copy this one out. So the only thing to remember is this part, log 1 plus x. Okay, I hope you have copied. Fine. Solve the next one. Solve the next one. Okay, how to remember the cos one? Cos of x. How to remember? First, just substitute x is equal to 0. So cos of 0 will become 1. So cos will start with 1. Cos will start with 1. Then we remember cos, sine, tan all have second term missing. Every alternate term missing. So x to the power 1 will be missing. So we'll have x square. Then we'll have x to the power 4. Then we'll have x to the power 6 and so on. Right? So this term will be missing. Then you have plus. Then he will minus, plus, minus. This is 2 factorial. This is 4 factorial. This is 6 factorial. And that's how you will write the cos series. So you will, if I'll write them closely. So this is 1 minus x square by 2 factorial plus x4 by 4 factorial and so on. 7 by 2. Okay. Somebody is getting 7 by 2. So because here we have divided with x square. Here we have divided with x square. So I know I just need first 2 terms. I will not require any other term because all will have x to the power 4 divided by x square. Yes, you will have x square terms multiplied, right? So simply, if you'll write this, so this will become 1 minus, so this is 4 into 1 minus x square by 2 minus 5 into cos 2x. Cos 2x will become 1 minus 2x whole square by 2 plus cos 3x. So this is 1 minus 3x whole square by 2, right? Divided by x square. So this is 4 minus 5 plus 1. So this and this will get cancelled. This is limit of x tending to 0. 4 minus 5 minus 1 and plus 1. So you simply have to calculate 4 by 2. We know x square will get cancelled. So 4 by 2 plus this is 5 into 4 by 2, and this is minus 9 by 2. So this will become sorry, this is minus 4. So this is 20. This is 20 minus 9 minus 4 by 2. So this is 7 by 2, right? 20 minus 13, 7 by 2. So the answer is 7 by 2. See, again I am telling you, Remember this part. Again, I'm telling you, if you will solve using differentiation, do not use L'Hopital's rule. Okay, I'm telling you, it might seem simple now. For some question, it will seem simple now, right? But it will become really difficult if you will start solving using L'Hopital's rule for every question. Okay, fine. So please do not use L'Hopital's rule, even if it is getting bigger, or if in okay, okay, you must have solved. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. So I hope this one is okay. Simple expansion, you can simply find this. Just you have to use the first two terms. Okay, now next one, solve this one. Now if you will use L'Hopital's rule for this one, it will get really messy. It will really get messy if you will use L'Hopital's rule for this one. बच्चे वो that is Jafran, it is like कि बिल्कुल at the end if you are not able to understand anything. See, if they are asking, sir, in boards, if they as L'Hopital's rule, if they ask, Are yaar, what kind of a question is that? What kind of a stupid question is that? If somebody asks you to solve question using L'Hopital's rule, then will you say that no, I will not solve question with L'Hopital's rule? But obviously, if somebody asks that solve using L'Hopital's rule, then you solve using L'Hopital's rule. But if there is no condition, right now, what I'm saying, that if there is no condition given, if they have not said that okay, use L'Hopital's rule or nothing, then please try to solve using other method. L'Hopital's rule, try to avoid. If somebody is asking to solve L'Hopital's rule, then obviously you will solve L'Hopital's rule. Now, what kind of a question? I'm not able to understand what is the logic behind. Will you say, okay, no, I will not solve using L'Hopital's rule? But it is in the question. The question is saying use L'Hopital's rule to solve. Then use it. And otherwise, if they are not solved, then you can use. See, what I'm trying to say is, if in exam using L'Hopital's rule, which we have not discussed, which I will discuss afterwards. If in exam using L'Hopital's rule is much easier, then use. There is no problem. But the thing is, no, Jafran, I'm not talking about you. Somebody else asked. If in exam it is easier for you to solve using L'Hopital's, then you use. But I know that in exam they will not ask question which can be solved using that method. That is what I'm saying. So that is why we will keep our practice using other methods also. Fine. So cos x expansion we know, sin 3x expansion we know, e to the power x. Let's see what was e to the power x expansion. So e to the power x expansion was simple. E to the power x, 1 plus x square by 2 factorial plus x cube by 3 factorial and so on. So we will use that part only. We will use that part only. We will have only one thing to remember, this part. So we will write expansion separately. Cos x we just saw previously. We will substitute 0. So 1 minus x square by 2 plus x to the power 4 2 factorial plus x to the power 4 by 4 factorial and so on, right? We have e to the power 2x. E to the power x, what? E to the power x was 1 plus x square by 2 factorial plus x cube by 3 factorial and so on, right? So we have e to the power 2x will be 1 plus 2x plus 2x whole square by 2 factorial and so on, right? Similarly, e to the power minus x square by 2, simply just substitute. So 1 plus minus x square by 2, and this will become plus minus x square by 2 whole square by 2 factorial, and remaining sin x. So sin x will start with 0. So sin x, so sine of 3x, we have first I will write for sine of x. Sine of x was sine of 0 is 0, so it will start with x minus x square, x cube by 3 factorial minus plus x to the power 3. So you will have x4 by 4, x5 by 5 factorial. So sine 3x will be 3x minus 3x whole cube by 3 factorial and so on, right? Sine of 3x. So now if I substitute these values, cos x will become 1 minus x square by 2 plus x to the power 4 by 4 factorial. I will write as this is, so 6 into 4, 24, right? I'm not writing next term because I think 4 will be sufficient. So I'm writing the first 3 terms, okay? Minus e to the power minus x square. So this is minus 1. I will write for this minus 1 plus sorry, minus x square by 2, and this will become plus x to the power 4 by 4 into 2, right? This is x square, x to the power 4 minus, so that, see, here also 4 and here also 4, but 4 and 4 is not getting cancelled, right? So next is e to the power 2x. E to the power 2x I have already written, e to the power x this, so this is 1 minus 1, so minus 1 minus 1 plus e to the power x is 1 plus 2x plus 2x whole square by 2. I will not write any other term because it will, the term has to come as factor. Next, last term is this one, sine of this. So this is 3x minus 3 cube x cube by 3 factorial, and this is whole square. Now see, if it is limit x tending to 0, that means all the x from numerator and x from denominator should get cancelled, and the remaining part will be as it is. So if we look at these terms, this 1 is getting cancelled with this 1, right? This x square by 2 is getting cancelled with this x square by 2, right? The only thing which will be left out in the numerator is x to the power 4, right? X to the power 4 into some factor, right? Remaining all term will have x to the power 5 or x to the power 6 or x to the power 7. Okay, I hope this part is clear. So that means in numerator, this x to the power 4 should get cancelled from the denominator. We will just check that one. So this 1 and 1 gets cancelled, this and this gets cancelled. So I will simply write this as x to the power 4 by 24 minus x to the power 4 by 8, right? Denominator. Let's see if we are getting x to the power 4 common from denominator. Minus 1 and 1 will get cancelled. Here you have 2x. Here you have 2x. So x, and then you have 2x square and so on. So I can take x common from this. I can take x common from this part. So this will be x square because there is a square. So this will become, x square into 2 plus something as a factor of x. So to have x square whole square, right? Next, we are not bothered about what is multiplied because it will anyways, it will get 0. Next is here. Again, I can take 2 common. So this is, sorry, again I can take x common from this one also. So this is x into 3 plus something whole square. This something has a factor of x. So again x. So here it will become x square because square was there. This x square, this x square will get combined and this will get cancelled with this. So in the numerator we are having, 1 by 24 minus 1 by 8. As x tends to 0, all the terms here will get 0. This will become 0. This part will become 0, right? So as x tends to 0, all these terms will become 0. This will become 0 and this will become 0. So denominator you will only have 2 square into 3 square, right? This is the final value which we'll get. So this will be the final answer. You can just solve this. Sir, once we take x as common or x square. In this case, here we took x common, but because there was a square, that is why we took x common from here, it became square. So that is why it became x square. Here also we took x, but because there is a square, when we took common, it became x square. So that is why x square becomes x to the power 4 will get cancelled. So this will be the answer. You can just solve this out. I think somebody gave answer 5 by 2. Just check if you are getting 5 by 2. I hope everybody understood. Fine. Similarly, if you'll differentiate this, I don't think so that will differentiation you will get the answer. It will become really, really, really lengthy and really difficult. And if you'll start doing differentiation, it will keep on going. It will keep on coming. Differentiation after differentiation, and at one point you will forget that what you will make a mistake in differentiating. Okay. I hope this one is okay for everyone. Everybody understood what I did? If you want to solve this once again, if you want to copy this, you can just copy this. I will give you 1 minute. Just try to solve this once again by yourself. Okay, just copy this. Yeah, just try to copy this one. Yes, it will become easier. Just try to copy this one. Okay, 5 by 2 we are getting. Okay, fine. That is okay. Good. 5 by 2. Okay. Fine. Sir, how to know whether we should take first and second term? But see, the thing is, in these kind of question, you know that in denominator, you have to check from denominator. You just check from denominator. Whatever the term maximum power denominator you can take common, similarly you do. So here I know that I can take x common. So here it will be, I will get x square. Here also I know that I will take x common. Here it will become x square. Now, if there is a x to the power 4 common in denominator, 100% there will be x to the power 4 common in the numerator. Otherwise, the limit will be not existing or 0. If suppose if numerator you had x to the power 5 and denominator maximum power you can take common is x to the power 4. So when this is cancelling out, so you will have x in the numerator, so this will become 0. Limit will become 0. Limit can be 0 also. There is no problem that limit cannot be 0. But then you would have x to the power 5 here. If you had x to the power 5, not x to the power 4, limit will become 0. So the maximum power you can take common from denominator, that will help you in understanding till which term. So remember, only 3 terms. If I will take generally I take only 3 terms, maximum of 3 terms. Okay. Yes, I have asked these type of questions in this week's test. Okay. Now see, this I will stop teaching till now. So now I will share one video with you, which is actually helping you, which will actually help you to actually visualize. If you have not seen, then it's okay. It will help you to visualize how we are getting these series. Okay. So just wait. Can you just tell me if you are able to listen it or not? Just wait. Just wait. Just wait. Are you able to listen?
When I first learned about Taylor series, I definitely didn't appreciate just how important they are. But time and time again, they come up in math and physics and many fields of engineering because they're one of the most powerful tools that math has to offer for approximating functions. I think one of the first times this clicked for me as a student was not in a calculus class, but a physics.
Okay, just wait. Please share audio in the left corner. Okay, just wait. Let me see.
But if you approximate cosine of theta as 1 minus theta squared over 2, of all things, everything just fell into place much more easily. Now, if you've never seen anything like this before, an approximation like that might seem completely out of left field. I mean, if you graph cosine of theta along with this function, 1 minus theta squared over 2, they do seem rather close to each other, at least for small angles near 0. But how would you even think to make this approximation? And how would you find that particular quadratic? The study of Taylor series is largely about taking non-polynomial functions and finding polynomials that approximate them near some input. And the motive here is that polynomials tend to be much easier to deal with than other functions. They're easier to compute, easier to take derivatives, easier to integrate, just all around more friendly. So let's take a look at that function, cosine of x, and really take a moment to think about how you might construct a quadratic approximation near x equals 0. That is, among all of the possible polynomials that look like c0 plus c1 times x plus c2 times x squared, for some choice of these constants, c0, c1, and c2, find the one that most resembles cosine of x near x equals 0, whose graph kind of spoons with the graph of cosine x at that point. Well, first of all, at the input 0, the value of cosine of x is 1. So if our approximation is going to be any good at all, it should also equal 1 at the input x equals 0. Plugging in 0 just results in whatever c0 is, so we can set that equal to 1. This leaves us free to choose constants c1 and c2 to make this approximation as good as we can, but nothing we do with them is going to change the fact that the polynomial equals 1 at x equals 0. Now, it would also be good if our approximation had the same tangent slope as cosine x at this point of interest. Otherwise, the approximation drifts away from the cosine graph much faster than it needs to. The derivative of cosine is negative sine, and at x equals 0, that equals 0, meaning the tangent line is perfectly flat. On the other hand, when you work out the derivative of our quadratic, you get c1 plus 2 times c2 times x. At x equals 0, this just equals whatever we choose for c1. So this constant c1 has complete control over the derivative of our approximation around x equals 0. Setting it equal to 0 ensures that our approximation also has a flat tangent line at this point. And this leaves us free to change c2. But the value and the slope of our polynomial at x equals 0 are locked in place to match that of cosine. The final thing to take advantage of is the fact that the cosine graph curves downward above x equals 0. It has a negative second derivative. Or in other words, even though the rate of change is 0 at that point, the rate of change itself is decreasing around that point. Specifically, since its derivative is negative sine of x, its second derivative is negative cosine of x, and at x equals 0, that equals negative 1. Now, in the same way that we wanted the derivative of our approximation to match that of the cosine, so that their values wouldn't drift apart needlessly quickly, making sure that their second derivatives match will ensure that they curve at the same rate, that the slope of our polynomial doesn't drift away from the slope of cosine x any more quickly than it needs to.
Yeah, so see, what he has done is, see, previously what we did was, first we have to, what we are trying to do is, we are trying to, just wait, I will share the whole screen. Yeah, so first what we were trying to do is that here. Yeah, so we are trying to take an approximate curve. We are trying to take an approximation of the curves cos x. Okay, so we are trying to take the approximation of the curve cos
This leaves
x.
us.
Okay, so now what is happening, that first, because we know that cos x can be written as a polynomial, we have already shown that we have already know that cos x or any other function can be represented as an approximation of polynomial function, and it can be represented as an approximate polynomial function. So what we are doing is that first, when we saw that, okay, so we will write cos x function. So first, suppose I will write cos x function. So if I have written cos x function, suppose if I'll write if I'll write cos of x. So function is cos of x, right? So just wait. Yeah, so the function is something like this. So what we will do, we'll try to look at the function around this point, right? Now, first thing what he did was that when we are trying to approximate, what we are doing, first we are saying that, okay, around this point, the tangent to this point, whatever the value of cos is, the tangent to this point is this line, right? And see, the Taylor series of cos x, the Taylor series for cos x, if you remember, the Taylor series, just I will change the pen. So the Taylor series, or for cos x expansion, when we are doing cos x expansion, so cos of x will be equals to, if you remember, cos of 0 is 0, so cos of 0 is 1, 1 plus, then you will have, 1 minus, you have x to the power 0, then you have x square, then you have x to the power 4, then you have x to the power 6. So plus minus by 2 factorial, by 4 factorial, by 6 factorial, and so on, right? So if we know that this will be the expansion of cos, by differentiation and all that. So first what I will do, I will write cos x, and then I will write function y equals to 1. Y is equals to 1. Now see, for y is equals to 1, we have got first the tangent. Around that point we have found the value that, okay, this, around this point the function will be here. Now this point we have fixed that, okay, at x equals to 0 we have got this thing, right? Now see, around this point we have already fixed. Now the second is, we will look at the second derivative. Now what he has done, when he did the second derivative,
It's free to
when he did the
C1.
second derivative, we got the value of is equal to 0. When we have second derivative, it was sine 0, and we got the coefficient of x is 0, right? So what we did, we wrote down 1 plus 0 into x. So 1 plus 0 into x. So second also we got the same thing, and a second term will also got the same thing. Now after again differentiating once more, when we are trying to find out the coefficient of x square, when we are differentiating and when we are trying to find out coefficient, we got the coefficient of x square as minus 1 by 2. We got as minus 1 by 2, right? So then what we did, we substituted here. So suppose here, now we'll add minus, so here this is approximate, right? Now see, when I will add that minus x square by 2 term, when I will add that minus x square by 2 factorial term, the curve will become even more closer to the function. So let's see, plus of minus of x square minus of x square divided by 2, right? So see, now you can see that function, previously the curve was different. That means previously this was the curve, right? When we added the remaining term, from linear, it became a more approximate, right? It became a little more approximate. Now again what I will do, I will add, now he got the first two terms. Now he will try to find out the terms for x to the power 4 also. He will try to find out the x to the power 4. He will get the 4 factorial value, then he will find the value for x to the power 6. He will get, okay, minus 1 by 6 factorial will be the value. So what happens when he wrote down those terms, what we will get, suppose we'll have plus x to the power 4 divided by x to the power 4 whole thing divided by, we got 4 factorial, right? So 4 factorial, so we can write directly 24. This is 24. Now see, if previously the curve was approximated only till here, this point. Previously the curve was approximated only till this point. Now if we'll zoom in, there will be little bit gap, but it will be a perfectly more approximation. See, there will always be a gap. See, if I'll keep on zooming in, there will always be a gap. But when I keep on adding the term, see, at this zoom, there is a gap in between. But when I will add this term, when I will add minus x to the power, see, x to the power 6. When I will add x to the power 6, whole thing divided by, this is 6 factorial. So 6 factorial 120, 720. 720. See, now they both became very much closer. Previously there was a gap. Now for this one, it became closer. So as we keep on adding terms, what is happening? As we keep on adding term, this approximation will become more and more closer to the curve. Understood? Now remember, see, even now around only x is equal to 0. Even now only around x is equal to 0, we are able to only around x is equal to 0 we are able to approximate. So this is around x is equal to 0, more and more approximation. But see, if we'll move out, then see, this curve is actually different. This curve is actually different, and this is cos curve. This was cos curve, and this was the approximation. So this approximation will only work around which point? Around x is equal to 0, which we are trying to approximate. Fine. So this is how what we did. We approximated all these functions. This is how we approximated all these functions by equating them equals to a plus a1x square, a1x plus a2x square plus a3x to the power cube, and so on. Then we calculated for different differentiation, we calculated around that point, and we found these coefficients value for each of them. And when we substituted till infinite series around that point, we were able to get the most approximate form of the function in terms of polynomial, right? Which is easier for us. Polynomial function are easier for us to represent and to find the derivatives and to actually check the limits and all. Why? Because differentiation, first thing is differentiation of polynomial is easy, right? Second is if we'll differentiate, they will get removed, they can get removed and all, right? And we can simply write in terms of x and all. Understood? So that is why we actually need the approximation for these function if we are trying to find out the limit. And also in limit, if you remember, for limit we are only talking about a neighborhood of a point, right? And this approximation is also a approximation around a point, so these both things go hand in hand a lot, right? This is also these also are an approximation around a point, and we are limit is also an approximation. We are only talking about around a point, so that's why we use these expansion to find the values of limit, to find all these limits. And whenever we are finding all these limits, this is becoming more and more easy, more and more clear that okay, yeah, around this point when we'll expand, we are getting the values, we are expanding the values. Now for this one, for this question, differentiation is very difficult. For this one, differentiation is very difficult just for this cos function, this sine function. But if suppose if you'll write them in terms of a polynomial function, now you can differentiate. Differentiation of polynomial is much more easier than the differentiation of trigonometric function or logarithmic, because they will keep on going till infinity. Fine. I hope this video and this explanation, you are able to understand that okay, why we are using approximation of these function. Okay, Hannah, is there any other doubt? Is there any other doubt regarding this? I can explain. Otherwise, you can just write Taylor series. If you want to check, you can write Taylor series. Remember, if you write Taylor's only, it will show Taylor Swift. Okay, so don't get distracted. You have to check for Taylor series. And this video is for this video is for, I think this is 3 blue 1 brown. Yeah, 3 blue 1 brown. I checked this video when I was in college and when I was teaching someone else. Okay, so you can also check this video. Now I will share the PDF with you. Okay, just download it. Yeah, there is a Cengage playing with graph. You can have that one also. Seeker's material limit. I have already shared with you, na? Just okay. I will share once again. Seeker's material of limit. Okay, where it is? Yeah, limit and continuity. Just wait. I will share. Yeah, okay. I will wait for 5 minutes. Don't worry. Yeah, I've shared Seeker's limit material, limits and continuity material also. You can download both continuity material as well as the class for today. So we have taken 3 classes from limit and continuity. Four classes will be more for limits, and then we'll move on to continuity. It's a very small chapter, but very conceptual for you to develop continuity and then differentiability and then your integration. So this limit is a very basic and very conceptual chapter for you to understand. Today's PDF I have uploaded, bache. Ankita, I have uploaded today's PDF. You can just download it. Yeah, it got uploaded just now. है ना? Sir, which book do you use during your preparation? Sir, बच्चे at that time there was no books, no Cengage, nothing. So what we used to do, we only had these question banks. There was no book at my time. Very less books. Very less books. Very less books. Only one book I remember was my 12th class. I think it was some DC Pandey, which was 12 ICSC maths I used, है ना? Otherwise for physics I use SC Verma. That's it. 2 books for theory, remaining all the books for questions. That's it. No, bacha, this is today's PDF. This is yesterday's PDF. Just wait. Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Just wait. Just wait. I will share. Just wait. Yeah. Same, just name was different, है ना? Name was yesterday's, but this is today's, है ना? You can just download this. Now it is with correct name, okay? So just copy this one. Fine. I hope now it is okay. Fine. So please study. The exam is very simple based on the limit concept which we have done till now. I've not given a very difficult exam. It's a very simple exam. Everybody should be able to get good marks. Okay. Chalo. I hope you have downloaded. So take care. Have fun.